Okay.
It was good. So it is just covering the main aspects of HR domain, how we are supposed to prepare. Okay, the foundation was well laid yesterday. 2 sessions.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Based on that, I'm very confident the rest of the days, the sessions will be driving towards the fulfilling the objectives of the program.
And I think you people all are stress-free and had a sound sleep yesterday after attending stress management session.
Yeah, we can claim we can claim, no doubt in that. We can claim.
Okay, and you people might be wondering like why we had a session on stress management. That is as per the norms of AICT.
Yes, sir. Atal specifically instructing on conducting these kind of programs, personality, stress. It is a mandatory.
Right.
Atal has instructing all the host organizations to have these kind of sessions in their training program.
Yeah. Yes. Like today, I'll be posting one questionnaire in this group. Please try to register your opinions. It is a part of my research work with respect to work from home and work-life balance. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody who would like to give a brief about Kahani Ab Tak? Yesterday's session, before starting today's session. Like what were the key points in yesterday's session? Like the resource person will be joining shortly. Anybody who would like to give a brief summing up of yesterday's session?
Yes, the first 2 sessions were by Medha ma'am, and she beautifully explained to us what we understand by HR analytics and why HR analytics is required in the organizational setting, and what are the key points of HR analytics, what exactly are the fields where analytics can be applied. So that's a nice value addition for us. And lastly, on the third session, we had Rucha ma'am who talked about stress management, and there were some beautiful examples, beautiful takeaways in that section where she mentioned about about the book The Secret by I just forgot the name of the writer. Anyway, The Secret, the name is The Secret, where she talked about different strategies of managing your stress and managing the time very efficiently.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah. So,
like how many of you are afraid of statistics? Are you afraid of numbers and statistics?
Not really, ma'am. For me,
not really.
Yeah, I can say I never had a formal coaching on statistics during my academic, career. But now that I am having to, use it too much, but I'm in love with the subject rather.
Okay. So when we say HR analytics, basically it is the combination of analytics and the various activities under HR. Okay, so today we are going to have the second and the third session basically on statistics. Very basics of statistics we'll be having. And when we take the case of HR analytics, basically it is classified into 3 parts, like descriptive statistics, predictive and prescriptive statistics. Okay, now why I'm giving this brief idea about this terminologies, there may be a possibility that you will be having questions in your evaluation test based on these aspects, isn't it? So that is why I'm giving you a brief idea about all these things. And we will be having Tableau also for you people. It is basically a data visualization. It's basically a data visualization thing. So when you take the case of data visualization, Tableau helps to build up dashboards. Okay, so this dashboards you can do through MS Excel, through Tableau, through Power BI, and through Google Data Studio also. Okay, so but in this FGP, we will be focusing on Tableau. And you would love to do the dashboard part with Tableau. And dashboard is very much required, whatever may be the specialization, yeah, domain in which you are working. Okay, if it is marketing analytics, yeah, we can say operation analytics, finance analytics. So dashboard is a very important, nowadays it is becoming popular also. So you can have lots of tutorials available in the YouTube, which you can take the help of that and you can learn dashboard, means dashboard. So now I'm going to publish a monograph based on Google Studio dashboard shortly. So I'll be sharing the link in this group only. So through that also you can learn. So hope you people are going to have again a very good session today. Power packed session starting with balance card, and it will be ending with statistics, basics of statistics. Like I think you all may be aware of tool pack in MS Excel. So through that we'll be having. Let me check whether the resource person is here or not. Rucha?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, Medha ma'am has not yet joined. We'll be starting session today 10:30 sharp. Ma'am will be joining in a while, ma'am.
Okay. So if you people have any queries, yeah, if you want to know some want to do some interactions, you can do. We can utilize that time till Medha arrives. आप लोगों को किसी को कुछ पूछना है?
Do we need to download some software for this, Tableau?
Basically, Tableau, I think the resource person will be providing you the link, I think.
Okay.
I'm not very sure about it. Okay. So it will take hardly 5 minutes to download.
Okay.
So the person will be sharing the link and you're having the Tableau on Thursday and Friday.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so let me talk to him today and I'll get back to you people. And as far as Saurabh Agrawal sir is concerned, I think he will be taking in our platform. Let me talk to him today. And if it is required, then we'll be sharing you the link. So meanwhile, you can download.
Okay.
Ma'am, how much percentage of questions will be from statistics? Is it easy to pass? I'm not
yeah.
well versed in statistics.
You are expecting,
certificate.
No, you are expecting some important questions. If you are expecting some important questions, I've already asked 2 questions right now.
Yeah.
I have already asked. So there is a possibility of having those questions in your evaluation test.
Okay.
Now, why I asked those questions, it was not covered in yesterday's session. So I thought of asking. So you can expect 2-3 questions from stress management, few questions from analytics, and 2-3 questions from Tableau. All will be very basics.
Okay.
Only thing you need to focus is what? Like we are having both the types of questions, checkbox as well as multiple choice. So you need to check whether single answer is expected, yeah, more than one answer is expected. So looking to the type of question itself, you can understand whether there is one answer, yeah, whether there is multiple answer. That part you need to take care. I think Medha is here. Good morning, Medha.
Yes, my ma'am has joined.
Okay, I think Rucha, you can start. It's 10:30.
Yes, ma'am.
So dear participants, wishing you all a very fruitful and happy learning today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll catch you in the evening.
Thank you, ma'am.
Last session. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I, Dr. Rucha Lohi, welcome you all again on behalf of Datta Meghe Institute of Management Studies to the day 2 of AICT Atal online FDP on quantification of human resource with HR analytics. For our first session of the program on HR balanced scorecard, the expert speaker is Dr. Medha Dikshit, ma'am. Ma'am, I request you to take over the session.
Thank you, Rucha. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So, yeah, so we will again start with where we left off yesterday, because I feel that all these things are so interconnected, and we need to understand that, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Each piece has to fit properly for the picture to be complete. And that is precisely what it is with our HR functions. And I think now what we have to do or understand is we cannot isolate just the HR function in the entire organization. The whole organization will work, or will come to life, or will give out the same kind of expected results only if everything goes hand in hand. Now, earlier on, the whole premise of a business was financial gains, commercial successes, and that is what was looked at. Now, financial gains and this is the industrial era that I'm talking about, because as management students, all of us started understanding management because of the industrial era. And that was a different age, though. Let us just first reconcile to the fact that all the theories that we have today, like Henry Fayol's principles, that was a different age altogether. That was very industrial. That was very assembly line. The principles would still stand right, but they have to be evolved. Like every function, like everything, because the most permanent thing on earth is change. I mean, that's the most constant thing, and we have to evolve with this change all throughout. With the same evolution, and with the same evolution of management theories and management thoughts, the scorecard was born. Now, yesterday we did so much of work on what a balanced scorecard is, how a balanced scorecard was, the HR analytics and the scores and the data that came along with it. We saw to an extent how it was used also. Today we try and investigate on the usage of this data, and how to ensure that this usage is all encompassing. Now, one amazing thing that came about in the 90s was actually there were these two people who came up with this idea, but this idea is also a derivation. First, this idea was published in as a paper, and then the same idea was published as a book. And the idea that I'm talking about was some kind of a scorecard. In the 2000, we're in 2021 today. And because of these metrics and because of these mapping, I do realize that we've all become very number oriented. So do you know type A and type B personalities? So type A and type B. Now type A is totally number oriented. And I think as a community, as a human community, we are becoming very type B. You can see an increasing amount of people who are becoming type B. That is numbers driven. So the balanced scorecard also tried to make sense of whatever was happening, and it tried to put everything into numbers. It tried to make a very, very numbers driven organization. But at the same time, after a few experiments, it turned out that not everything can be numbers driven. There has to be a good enough balance for the numbers and for the process. So this next 50 minutes, we will just understand what these numbers are and how to take them ahead. Here goes. So again, like I said, we talked about measurements and we talked about maps and we talked about what is going to happen and how much is going to happen. So this whole thing was how much. Up, it was all about कि कितने किलो का happiness मिला है आपको या कितने ग्राम का sadness है आप में. So everything was measurable, everything was tangible, and everything was calibrated to a certain point. So the base principle that management taught us was what you measure is what you get. If you can measure what is happening in your organization, then that is exactly what your outcome is going to be. So always remember that it's the balance scorecard and then the HR scorecard. So it's all going to be about measurements. It's all going to be about calibrations. So the base principle of both these ideas, or the same idea, is what you measure is what you get. It's all about measurement and it's all about calibration. So when we talk about what you measure and is what you get, we try and understand that the senior executives had, or rather the C-suite, then decided to have a measurement system for the entire organization. They started putting in place a certain measurement system. Again, if we go back to the assembly line and if we realize that in the assembly line, we had a system which talked about how many units were prepared every day. It was all about the number of units that were prepared every day. So again, number of units matlab a measurement, matlab some kind of a calibration. And that is precisely what the scorecard talks about. It's a score, so it will always be a number. And the numbers that we attach to things or to behaviors or to intangibles, as if the numbers are attached to tangibles, it's easy to understand. The moment we start attaching numbers to the intangibles in an organization, then it starts getting a little more complicated. Then it starts becoming a different thing altogether. So the senior executives, management, everybody, of course, they realize that what you measure is what you get. But now the process of measuring incidents that would affect the behavior of managers and employees started. And that is how started this balance scorecard. So now we come to this idea of the balance scorecard. Now the balance scorecard, we shall generally refer to it as the BSC. So the balance scorecard is mostly, it's a framework. Okay, again, like yesterday also we thought or we saw, we are looking at a framework. So this is a framework that is used to implement and manage strategy. Yesterday in the second session, where we talked about business understanding, it was generally assumed, and I think I underlined the fact that strategy is a very, very, very important feature in any scorecard or any analytics that we have to look at. So we have a framework. This framework will totally talk about how to implement and how to manage strategy. Okay, so we say that this is the balance scorecard, and this balance scorecard is just going to help us in implementation and managing and monitoring the strategy of the entire organization. And then when we talk about strategy, we have to come back to our basics. And the first basic is the vision, the mission. So when we look at the vision of the organization, we have to understand what are the strategic objectives, what are the targets, what are the initiatives, and how do we measure these things. So now we are going to use the big hoary goal of the organization. We are going to look at the vision, and now we're going to slice it up into strategic objectives. We're going to understand how to measure these objectives. We're going to understand how these targets are going to be measured, and what are the initiatives that need to be taken. So again, it's nothing but the vision of the organization that is now slowly going to be sliced up into strategic objectives. Also, like in the first instance only, I said that when we talk about measures and numbers, numbers are basically what? Numbers only mean money. Paisa, kitna paisa banaya, right? Lekin kitna banaya is not the entire answer. The entire answer will include paisa kaise banaya. All right. And then we talk about performance measures. So we are saying that the balance between the financial measures and performance measures have to be related to the entire organization. And that is why the balance scorecard is such an important, such an all-encompassing tool. Now, this particular tool looks at how or what can be done. This particular tool has a few jargon. Kuch to iska jargon hai, which we will have to understand. And it has a few words that we will be using over and over again. So right now we will, again, the keyword here is balanced. So the balance will always be between the financial measures of the organization and the performance measures and objectives that have been used. So we say this is a tool. I will be clear at the start that this is a tool. ये हमारे हाथ में एक औजार है. The way we use this tool is up to us. It is up to the organization. Okay. When we look at the balance scorecard, as we go along, we will realize that crafting will become the biggest art. The biggest art in a scorecard is going to be the way we craft. Okay. So it is a business performance tool, and a balance scorecard is one of the better tools because it looks at the entire organization. It just does not focus only on, let us say, financial measures or performance measures or something like that. It looks at, it has a very holistic view. It looks at the entire organization. So we call it a business performance tool. Like I mentioned, it first came out as a paper and then formally as a book in 1996. To make this presentation, I reviewed, or rather I read through, I mean, I did it twice or thrice. There is a very good article in the HBR, that is the Harvard Business Review, on the balance scorecard. And that is probably the original article that was published in 1991 or 1992. So that becomes the base of my study on the balance scorecard. The balance scorecard was published by Robert Kaplan and David Norton. Even today, their names are attached to this, but it can be seen if we dig a little deeper. There is another social scientist. I forget his last name. It was Art or something, long name. उनको भी attribute किया जा सकता है, but अभी के लिए it is established or it is attributed to Robert Kaplan and David Norton. Okay, now we talk about how it is an important measure, and I will again underline this fact that this measure is important because it is more than financials. In the industrial age, it was easy to map the growth of an organization. कि आपने कितना profit बनाया है, what does your bottom line look like, what does your balance sheet look like, and that is it. So financial measures were given a lot of importance. Now we are looking at an entire organization, and hence it looks across 4 perspectives. Now, these perspectives, when we look at the perspectives, you will also realize there is a base diagram of the balance scorecard. That is the diagram that we use every time. Whenever we are trying to map or craft our organizational strategies, that is one diagram that we can use every time. That's the base diagram. This base diagram, like the balance scorecard, has 4 perspectives. There are 4 perspectives to this base diagram. Now, these perspectives are interlinked, and because it is interlinked, it establishes a causal relationship between the investment and the financial outcome. So the biggest part here is the causal relationship between investment and financial outcome. So why this balance scorecard is so important to us is because of this causal relationship. The same scorecard should be used to define, measure, and manage the organizational vision and mission. We again have HR strategy, or we again have organizational strategy into play here. We are looking to define, measure, and manage the organizational vision and mission. So again, it's the vision and mission of the organization that is now being managed, that is now being put into 4 perspectives, and a causal relationship between each of these perspectives is further elaborated so that the organization works holistically. So, बहुत हो गया अभी ज्ञान. Let us look at this diagram. Okay. So, this is the diagram of any balanced scorecard. Any scorecard, this is the base diagram. All right. In the center, actually, where you see those arrows, in the center, you have the vision and mission, which is interlinked to all of these. So we have these 4 perspectives. So if we start with the customer perspective, we try and understand how do the customers see us. The next one that we see is the financial perspective, or rather, let us say from the customer's perspective, we try and see the internal business perspective, that what must we excel at. So if anybody here knows the Johari window, this is like, these 2 things are actually like the Johari window of an organization. So first things first, we understand how do the customers see us, what is their perspective. Then we try and see what is it that we must excel at so that we can match their expectations. Then we try and see how do we look to the shareholders. What is it in us? Which metrics are the shareholders looking at? And then we talk about how should we continue to improve and create value. Now, this is the basic of any balanced scorecard that we have. It's the base diagram. What we are going to do in this session, I think about 20 odd minutes later, is we are going to make our own balanced scorecards. We will try and make them for the organizations that we are working in. Okay, so going ahead. Now we look at this. How do the customers see us? So we have a customer perspective, an internal business perspective, innovation and learning perspective, and then the financial perspective. So this was the balanced scorecard, and out of this came a derivative which is known as the HR scorecard. The focus of this entire lecture is going to be the HR scorecard. Now, when we looked at the balanced scorecard, we understood a few things. We understood that there are these perspectives that we have to look at. Now, please try and see what is the internal business perspective. So if we try and look at this as an equal marks thing. So if the total is 100 marks, then 25 marks is the internal business perspective. And this HR business card talks about that particular 25 marks. HR scorecard is a mechanism for describing and measuring how people and people management systems are creating value. Okay. They try and communicate the key organizational objectives to the workforce. Now, what is this scorecard doing? There is a vision and mission of the organization. That vision and mission is being translated for all the people in the organization, and measurement systems are being attached. These measurement systems will always be part of a clear organizational strategy. These measurement systems will think about or understand the capabilities and behaviors of the workforce. These measurement systems are going to understand how do we implement this strategy. And these measurement systems will also help us make a strategy map. Now, this strategy map is going to be a visual depiction of the causal relationship. Kya hoga to kya hoga. Okay. So we look at causal relationships throughout the organizations. Okay. In the end, what we are going to look at is the shareholder or the stakeholder outcomes. HR scorecard always said that there were 5 key elements. Now, the first was what we called as the workforce success. So the first one we say is the workforce success. Now, the question here is, has the workforce accomplished the key strategic objectives for the business? I will take the example of my own organization again. As you all already know, I told you yesterday also, I work with a hospital. My hospital is in cancer care. Okay, so we're looking at cancer, one of the worst diseases known to mankind, high mortality rate, high rate of disability or debilitation of the human body. Now, what is my workforce expected to do? Let's start from the bottom. My front desk executives or my karka sevaks are supposed to be extremely empathetic. My nurses are supposed to give the best nursing care so that injury to the bodily harm is minimized. My doctors are supposed to research for the best cures available or talk about the best medicines or understand the best medicines as per the metabolism of the patient. Okay, and as a whole, my entire organization has to have a very good cure and a very good how would I put it, okay, let's just call it a cure rate. Okay, or a very good palliative rate, the palliation, that is easing of pain management, right? So now I have to understand, now this is the first element. Has my workforce done each of these things? Has each person done each of these things so that those individuals can tell me, can my nursing supervisor come and tell me, madam, मेरी team ने तो बहुत अच्छा काम किया है. They did everything according to the checklist. So this is workforce success. Has the workforce accomplished the key strategic objectives for the business? That is the workforce success. Second is the right HR costs. Of course, this is a scorecard, so of course there are going to be costs. Now we look at the second element and we call it the right. Does this have the right kind of HR costs? Now HR costs is not just the HR function, but the cost of the entire workforce. So am I paying my nurse very low कि उसको काम में interest ही नहीं है? Am I taking care of her welfare? Now, like in my organization, since it's a little far away from the city, we provide conveyance and we provide one meal on the campus, and it's a nice healthy meal that the staff gets. Now, we look at this as investment in the workforce because we realize that our hospital is about 20 kilometers away from the main city. So the cost that we incur in ferrying these people, in using the buses, now this becomes an investment in the workforce because it is so easy for the people to come to commute every day. Their headache of commute, they don't have to worry about petrol costs. They don't have to worry about the traffic. They just have to be at the bus station and the bus brings them to the workforce, to the workplace. So it's not just the HR function. We look at the total investment that we put in the workforce, and we realize that these are measures that are paying. Now, for example, in one of the exit interviews, one nurse, one little girl who had gotten married, who had a child, and then she left because nobody can take care of the child. In her exit interview, she had said, "Thank you for giving me maternity benefit." So that actually, of course, it's a workforce cost. But in that little cost, I realized that there are so many people who are relieved that they don't have to invest in those things anymore. So the entire investment in the workforce should actually include these costs, which we are trying to do every day. So we are saying, or rather the second element is the right HR cost. Now, if conveyance and giving one meal, if that is an HR cost, then we realize that these are the right places in which we are putting in the investment. The satisfaction of the employees in terms of these two HR costs is very high. Going ahead, we look at the third element, and this third element is the right type of HR alignment. When we look at alignment, our alignment will always be with the organizational vision, with the organizational strategy, and with the organizational mission. Okay, so then we say that are our practices aligned with the business strategy and differentiated across positions where it is appropriate. Now, in this one thing, I would like to talk about the time office. Now, for example, I had met somebody who used to work in Seat Tires, and he had told me this one particular example. He told me that in Seat Tires, they had stopped the punch in and out of senior level of employees. So the senior employees did not have that tension or did not have that framework or that bracket of coming in at a particular time and going out at a particular time. And but the workers who used to work on the assembly line, they had to punch in, punch out. They had shifts and they had to report for their shifts as was indicated. Now that's what we're saying. It is an HR practice. Punching in and recording the time that you reach office is an HR practice. Now we are aligning it with business strategy, where it is essential that the workers punch in on time and report to their shift on time. That is an essential part. So across positions, it is being differentiated. So it is appropriate for the workers to come in and punch at a particular time. But senior management, even if they come in about an hour late, but they put in their, they contribute properly and they contribute effectively and productively, that becomes a good business strategy. So we're looking at HR practices that are tweaked a little so that the entire business strategy is put or is in line with whatever practices there are. Of course, these practices are differentiated according to position, as and how is appropriate. These are little things that you will find in normal practices, like giving a uniform to your workforce also. So these are small things that matter, and these are the things that finally amount to a good business strategy that we call. The fourth is the right HR practices. Now, when we're looking at the right HR practices, we kind of try and ask, have we designed and implemented the right kind of practices? Are we doing HR management correctly? Are our policies world class? Are our policies world class but also local? That is, they adhere to the local here. Now, remember yesterday I had given this example of the Mahalakshmi holiday. So Mahalakshmi holiday is a very, very local practice. But if we are looking at a world-class management practice, we are looking at the number of breaks that we are supposed to give. And giving a holiday on Mahalakshmi just adds to the work-life balance of the women who are working with you. So we are just understanding this. So are our HR practices right? Have we done the correct thing? Have we used the good management policies and practices throughout our business cycle? That becomes the fourth element. And then we talk about the fifth element, that is the HR professional. Do we have the right ones with us? Can my HR team design and implement a world-class HR management system? Does my team have the capability to open their mind and understand what else can we do so that everybody is happy? So the 5 key elements, the fifth one is a very, very essential one. Do we have such transformational leaders in the HR? That becomes a very important element of the HR scorecard. The HR professionals, the person leading the HR team, should be good enough to understand how to transform the organization, how to ensure that the right policy is used for the right kind of people. So we talk about, for implementation and execution, do we have the right team? So hang on. I want to put in I actually wanted to show you one slide which I could not. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I cannot find my. I'm sorry for this. Yeah. Right. I could not put this on, for some reason, I could not insert this in my presentation. So I'm just showing you this. This is again a very nice PDF that I found. And it's the same thing that we are talking about. Now we are looking at how the human resources architecture, the 5 R's, the 5 right things that HR should do, and how this particular architecture is so useful. And how HR now can start measuring. Now we can start looking at the measurables that there are in our strategy. Okay. So the first things first, we have a clearly defined business strategy. So we have
Yes, it's not visible, ma'am.
this slide is not visible.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, slide is not
Yo,
visible.
wait,
PDF.
wait. I'll try and do it again. How do
Medha, you stop sharing the present one
Yeah, I'll
and
do
then
that.
share the new
हाँ,
one.
ठीक है.
Yes, ma'am, because the PDF is not visible.
Okay, I stopped sharing this one. And
Yeah, and you do
Yeah,
the new
correct.
sharing.
This one, right? Better?
Yes, ma'am, now it is
Oh.
visible.
Yeah,
Thank
it's working.
Thank God. So, I know today's thing is a little boring, but or rather it's a little too tedious. So what we'll do is we'll just look at this and we will start making our own HR scorecard. I think that will be a little more interesting. Now, I just want you all to either copy this slide or keep this as the base of the diagram that we will work on later. So now this particular slide, it talks about how we link the HR architecture and how we now start measuring it. Okay. So the first things first is we need to have a very, very clearly defined business strategy. A business strategy that is totally clear, it is succinct. We know what is expected out of the entire organization and especially out of us as HR people. We then build a case, or rather it's in most cases it's already done. We look at HR as a strategic asset. Yesterday also I mentioned that HR cannot just be a visitor to the C-suite. It has to be part of the C-suite. It has to be part of decision making. And only then can HR become a strategic asset. So we look at HR becoming a strategic asset. Once we are there, we have to create a strategy map. Now, when we're making a strategy map, we have to look at the indicators. What are the indicators that are leading? What are the indicators that are lagging? What are the tangibles? What are the intangibles? With this, we start identifying the HR deliverables. Then we start understanding how the architecture and deliverables are made. So we look at the HR function, the system, and understand how that is giving rise to the employee behaviors. What do we do after that? After we have seen how employee behavior is impacted, we design the strategic management system. When we do that, we develop the scorecard where we have the leading, lagging, cost control, and value creation measures. We measure the intangibles, and then we start making firm performance relationships based on the causal behavior. Now, we have reached the stage where we implement management by measurement. Keywords here, people. management by measurement. And then this, if and how, becomes a regular pattern. Remember, we said it yesterday that when this is repeated, it becomes a pattern. And this pattern, then of course, we go to predictive analysis, we go to relational analysis, so all those things. So then this becomes a pattern. So now this is the particular way that HR architecture and measurement systems can be linked. We're going back to the presentation now. So something that we spoke there in detail, we're just looking at this one HR scorecard, which again, it's the same thing. It is driving long-term value.
Ma'am, are you trying
Yeah,
to
yes.
share something?
I got that. I got that.
Yes. Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, now it is visible.
है ना? हाँ. So, yeah. So whatever we did in the earlier slide, we just look at the HR scorecard being formed up now. Now we are making a scorecard. Okay. Now, when we're looking at the scorecard, we have to understand how this goes. On one hand, we have the strategic objectives. On the other hand, we have the key performance indicators. Now, for the organization, what is the best performance indicator? And that is, it is the shareholder value or the shareholder value growth. Simple है. All those people who are dealing in shares will know कि कल मेरा शेयर मैंने 30 रुपए में खरीदा, आज वो 60 रुपए का हो गया. There is a growth in value. Okay. Because कल 30 में था, आज 60 में हुआ, परसों 120 में होने वाला है. More shareholders are being attracted towards my organization. So that becomes my long-term shareholder value. If instead of shareholder, if we just use the term stakeholder, if we replace the term shareholder with the term stakeholder, try and see the impact that this performance indicator will have for the organization. So we're talking about driving long-term stakeholder value. And at each point of the way, all the stakeholders should feel enriched because of being invested in an organization like ours. How does that happen, or what are the key performance indicators if we just go one rung down the ladder? We talk about enhancing the return of investment of HR strategic initiatives, which means again there comes measurement and tangibles. We talk about the strategic HR programs and initiatives that there are, and we talk about how the return on investment can happen. Go one step down, we realize that this happens when we start investing in our employees. When we start analyzing what is the revenue per employee that is happening, how is the profit per employee being calculated, and all these things will happen only when we enhance employee productivity. Please remember everyone, these are causal relationships. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि if it is a happy employee, you will have profits the next day. These are all causal relationships. 5 happy employees will add to the productivity. But you have only 1 happy employee and 4 sad ones will not. So the investment in terms of effort and time has to happen in all the employees so that you have a good, productive majority workforce. Now, this is just one example that I want to give you. They are the same 4 strategic objectives, the same thing that we saw in a balanced scorecard. I want you all to please concentrate on the internal processes, and I want you all to please concentrate on the projects that there are on the extreme right side. Okay, so this is an example that I have taken, and we have to understand on how the internal process add to or directly contribute to the strategic objectives, and finally to the entire organizational objective. Okay, so now how can we do that? Now just go through this one slide. because this is the same slide that I will expect you all to make in your notebooks after I think about 10 minutes. I'll give you about 10 to 15 minutes to make a scorecard for your organization. Now that scorecard will have to reflect into this also. So look at the internal processes now. Internal processes, we are saying, let's go to the organizational capacity first. Organizational capacity, we are saying very simple, that you have to improve the knowledge and skills of your people. You have to improve the technology. You have to improve the supply chain. Okay, all of these things are adding up to the vision of the entire organization. Now, if you look at the first part, that is the vision, they say that they want to transform society through ease of access to ultra high speed information services. Now, this is basically a slide from a telecom company. Okay, a high speed internet company. So they are saying that they want to transform society. To transform society, look at the end of the slide and see what are they looking at. They're looking at improving knowledge and skills of each person. मेरे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में जो लोग हैं वो जब इम्प्रूव होंगे तो मेरा जो विजन है सोसाइटी इम्प्रूवमेंट का वो मैं तय कर पाऊंगी. And what are the steps here? We are looking at organizational capacity. We are looking at internal processes. We are looking at customer focus. We are looking at financial focus. Then we are looking at the strategic results. Then we are looking at content partnerships or strategic priorities, purpose, and which again translate into the vision. So we look at a top-down approach, but each of these things, according to the scorecard, have to be really thinned down to what is expected. This, people, is the balance scorecard of one telecom company. Our objective today is understanding how the HR scorecard will contribute to the balance scorecard of the entire organization. And this is another one. I'm just giving you these few examples because, again, like I said, I'm going to expect you all to make this card. Okay. So for the HR scorecard, we are going to need the 5 key elements, and we're going to put those 5 key elements. We're going to map those 5 key elements, and then understand how revenue can be increased, how profitability can be increased, and how cost can be reduced. Okay. What happens with the HR scorecard is, if you remember, I had said that we need strategy maps. We need to understand. So it cannot just be a project map. It has to be a strategy map. So we cannot just say कि हमको दुनिया बदलनी है. Or I cannot just say simple. I'll just give a very, very simple example. I need a clean city to live in. I want my children to have better air and a clean city. Now, it सिर्फ बोलने से बात नहीं बनने वाली है. How do we have a clean city? When each and every mohalla in the city is clean. How do we have a clean mohalla? When waste management operations given by the NIT are good. How does that also happen further? When each and every house in the mohalla does segregation of waste, right? So I cannot just say that Swachh Bharat chahiye. There have to be proper strategic objectives to each and everything. So for Swachh Bharat, I need Swachh cities. For Swachh cities, I need Swachh mohallas, and for Swachh mohallas, I need to start at home. So I cannot have any obscure strategic objective. I cannot have badly worded KPIs. तुमको कचरा नहीं फेंकना है. That is not a good KPI. Your key performance indicator is going to be how you segregate the waste, which is the waste that you're throwing out and which is the waste that you're composting. So KPI has to be specifically worded. Every time, what happens is people focus more on the project. Bharat Swachh hona chahiye. Never on the outcome कि कितना level का स्वच्छ हुआ है. There are no clear operational measures on what is to be done. Nagpur, it was decided that Nagpur will once become a bin-free city. Bin free matlab there will be no waste bins because the NMC decided that they will take kachra from your house. But it was not clear कि अगर रास्ते से आप जा रहे हो तो आपके हाथ में पार्सल है, पैकेट है, वो कहाँ फेंको. So no clear operational measures. And then of course the worst part, that is an entire lack of focus at supervisory level. Like everything else, the HR scorecard can fail because of such points. But there are ways in which we can sustain it. Now, we can sustain it only when this scorecard becomes part of our culture and it gets connected to the culture. So again, it'll sustain or it'll become an everyday procedure only when things happen every day. When every day people start looking
ನಿಮ್ದು
at
ಓಪನ್
the
ಮಾಡಿದ
scorecard.
ತಕ್ಷಣ ಲಿಂಕ್ ನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓಪನ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನೋಡಿ.
Link na share ಮಾಡಿ somebody said.
ನಾವು 12-13 ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ನಾವು
Hello.
ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ. ಒಂದಲ್ಲ ಎರಡಲ್ಲ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗಳು.
Okay, I think somebody is talking to their student. Can you please unmute?
Yes,
12
ma'am,
ಕಾಲೇಜ್
ma'am, I'll
180 ಜನ
ensure
ಅಂದ್ರೆ
that the
ಎಷ್ಟಾಯ್ತು ಲೆಕ್ಕ
participant
ಹಾಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
goes on mute mode.
Yes, thanks, Rucha.
ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೋಡದೆ
No problem, ma'am.
So we look at
ಬಂತಾ?
we look at
ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡಿ.
okay.
Ma'am, as for the host, you will have to mute that.
Yeah, I'll just try that, Rucha.
Yes,
Wait.
yes.
Yeah. So wait. I think I'll just mute. Yeah, done.
Thank you, ma'am.
So okay. When we are saying that the scorecard should become a part of the organizational process, we have to first, like again, we had talked about this yesterday, the culture has to be there. There has to be a connect. We have to start looking at software solutions to make such scorecards. If it is web-based, there is more ease. We have to have very good strategy maps. They become the most important thing there. Then cascaded scorecards, meaning a scorecard with a lot of layers so that all those layers dovetail together very nicely. We also need correct communication at each point of time. We need correct alignment to the vision, mission, and strategy. Then we need the scoring and weighting. So we need to weigh our options. We need to understand what are the small tactics that we will be using and how those tactics can be weighed and scored against the entire scorecard. We have to understand initiative management. We have to understand good report writing, integration to desktop tools, and briefings by the top management. So continuous communication becomes a huge part of the HR scorecard. Benefits, of course, it's the organizational strategy that we're talking about. Of course, better planning and a very good improved performance reporting and a performance measurement system. We have Dr. Kiran Kakade again. He has raised his hand. And if I look at this watch, we're about 11 minutes away from some time before we stop. I would like to take these 10 minutes to give you all an assignment. So the assignment is going to be, you have to look at this particular scorecard. And now you are going to understand what your scorecard will be like for your organization. After that, you are going to, I'll start sharing that particular yeah. After that, you are going to give me a scorecard like this. Okay. So this scorecard, you're going to start writing your own strategy for the strategy of the organization that you work for. All right. Can everybody do this?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'll take Dr.
Yes,
Kiran.
ma'am.
Thank you. I'll take Dr. Kiran's question now.
Yeah, good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Dr. Kiran.
Yeah, just I want to ask how we can connect HR scorecard with our HRS system.
With
With HRIS.
with HRIS.
Yeah.
The data you're going to get you're going to get from the HRIS only. The strategy map that you will make will be based on the data that you got from the IS.
Yeah.
Right?
So we need to customize our
Of
HR
course,
scorecard in the
course.
HRIS.
Of
And
course.
then we get the information from it, and then we can analyze that.
Correct.
for strategy framing.
Yes. That is how it's going to be. So if you can just, all of you, if you can just make this one little map. This one little map, if you can make, okay, that'll be great. So I'll just be a little more definitive here. First things first, think of the mission or the vision and mission of the college or of the organization that you work for. Pick up one HR function of that organization and see how that HR function is contributing to the vision and mission of your organization. Okay, just do that and think about how that HR function has come about. Okay, but start writing this now. First things first, think of the vision or mission of your organization and then choose one HR function. There's another diagram that I couldn't share. I will try and share that also.
Ma'am, the PDF is visible on the screen. I think you need to show that PPT screen.
Okay. There's one more diagram that I'm going to share. One more diagram I'll share.
Ma'am, now
Which one do you want?
Ma'am, now the PPT is visible.
Yeah. So there's one more diagram that I want to send you. Okay.
Ma'am, do we want to prepare the scorecard or the flow chart?
Sorry. This one you want, no?
No, do we want to prepare what we are supposed to prepare the HR scorecard or the flow chart? What we are supposed
HR, please. I just want HR strategy. Okay, because this will be a little too much. Rucha?
Yes, ma'am.
Rucha, can you share this PPT with all the participants?
Right, ma'am. Ma'am, you will have to
I'll send it to
me,
you. Yeah,
and
yeah.
then I will send it to everyone.
I will do that.
Yeah, ma'am. Even the participants are requesting for the PDF. So if it is okay with you, you can share that.
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
I'll do that. I'll give you both.
Right, right.
There's
I will
actually,
share it with everyone, ma'am.
There's another one that I want to show, which I could not insert.
Okay, ma'am.
So wait.
Medha ma'am,
Yeah.
I think the flowchart is not visible.
No, I'll send you the flowchart. I'm just giving that to Rucha. Give me 2 minutes. I'm just sending everything to Rucha. She will pass it on to you. 2 minutes. Rucha, did you get my mail?
Ma'am, I'm just checking. Just give me 2 minutes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. No problem.
Ma'am, not yet.
Okay, it's showing in my sent folder. You'll probably get it. Okay. It's showing in my sent folder. So Rucha will get it 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
Yeah, and Dr. Subhashini Durai has written that her organization wants to be a market leader. HR function that she's taking is the performance management system. Strategic objective being high performance, and KPI being maximum productivity, less defect rate. Dr. Subhashini, now if we are looking at the strategic objective of high performance, we will now have to, now when we are making a scorecard, we will now have to put scores to each of the performance parameters that you want to give. So when you're saying less, the KPIs, when you're saying less defect rate, so now you will have to somehow put weights to the defect rate. Now you have to define what the defect rate is. Okay.
Okay, ma'am, I have a small question in that, ma'am.
Yes.
How to actually how to, if I'm going to an industry, I'm very new to the industry. I wanted to do the weightage. How can I put the weightage for maximizing and minimizing?
Correct. So now what you have to do is you have to first look at one KPI. Can you give me an example of a KPI? that you want to take up?
Less defective rate.
Defective rate. So you're talking about manufacturing defective rate, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So let's say manufacturing of, let us say the thing in front of me is a book. Okay. Now let's say that the company that you're going to is manufacturing notebooks. Okay.
Okay.
So in manufacturing notebooks, there are certain quality parameters that you will use.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything against that quality parameter will go as a defect rate.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now you have to make a spectrum of 100% quality versus the admissible defect rate.
Okay.
And that becomes a spectrum. तो फिर आप देखो उसको आपको calibration करना है, or you see if you want to give see the score, a simple 5 on 10 score or a 7 on 10 score. That is the calibration that you have to use. Now, in any statistical this thing, you can understand which are the best ways to calibrate and which are the best ways to measure. So that when you're doing measurements for a multitude of people, it's easy to interpret.
Okay, ma'am. In this case, I have to coordinate with the production and quality manager, and then I have to set a standard, comparing with my competitor.
Correct. Comparing with your competitor and keeping a benchmark for yourself. Because you have to say that below this, I'm not going to allow any defects. Out of the 100 pieces I make, only 1% can be defective.
Okay.
So these are benchmarks that you have to set. In a lot of software organizations, the benchmarks that are set are according to time.
Oh, okay. They have a standard, ma'am.
Yeah. So then project, the time that you give to deliver the project, right? So that also becomes a benchmark.
Okay.
So you have to decide what is it that you want to map against.
Okay. In that case, if I give this particular thing, the scorecard will be complete, ma'am.
Correct. So if you think of if you are part of an architect's firm, right? Suppose you're in an architect. So you'll have a project that you're doing, the project management thing. Now, during that time, what are the benchmarks that you will set? There will be, of course, site handing over.
Yes, ma'am.
So that has to be on time. Then you will also have to look at what is the quality of material used and how has the material been used. How much did you save on the material by not wasting it, right?
Yes.
So these are the KPIs and these are the benchmarks that you will have to set.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Dr. Arjita Jain has said that the vision for her organization is to become a nationally and internationally accredited institute. Now, Dr. Arjita, I think these have already now, like the NAC committee. NAC committee has already given us some wonderful KPIs to work with. And if we start adhering to those KPIs, automatically there is a lot of alignment to our vision and there's a lot of alignment to our own goal. So to be a nationally and internationally accredited institute, we'll just again look at one particular vertical here. And one vertical we say is research. So if we look at research as a vertical in any educational institute, the number of it will just come to the KPIs will come to the number of papers that are published in national and international journals, right? Now, if we can encourage each of our own staff to do that, it becomes very clear that the level of our institute is going to rise, not only in the NAC, but also everywhere. So the vision, and so automatically the KPIs get aligned to the vision. So then there is somebody who has said excel in all aspects of academic life. Now, just to be very honest, I have a child in the house who's in the 10th standard. So when we're looking at a 10th standard child, that is how you counsel him. You tell him that you have to score on all fronts. Because if he might say, "Mujhe Hindi bilkul, I don't like Hindi, so I'm not going to study it." But if you need good percentage, good overall percentage, you have to study that subject and you have to get a certain amount of marks in that subject, right? So again, we have to establish the causal relationship with the subjects, with the scores, to how he can do well, or to his vision, and we align it to his vision. So now we have, now these are specifics coming in. There are some very nice ones. We have, if you all can see the chats, we have vision is Institute of Eminence in all fields of management and technology. Then we have a premier center of excellence for career-oriented education, known for contributing leaders in vital sector. This is very nice. Then we have a very nicely made KPI statement, making management professionals fit to industry and society, what we're looking for as a community. Recruitment and retention, very good. Objective being faculty with knowledge, experience and skill. KPI is very good result, good placement. Wonderful. This is very nicely made. Then we have a vision to be a catalyst in inspiring and transformation. Very nice. New training and research. Then we have to become a center of excellence in management education. Socially responsible individual corporate professionals. Wonderful. Then we have excellence in academic management and research, retaining good people in our industry. Oh, wonderful. Then we have, of course, Dr. Moorlan is asking that KPI alignment and vision will indicate the organizational output and excellence. Then making collaborative consultancy network, Renu is saying this. So Renu ma'am, of course, now when we understand what our vision is, we can easily break it down into the objectives, into a balanced scorecard. So first things first, we have a vision, we make a scorecard, the balanced one first. Yeah, and out of the balanced one, we now do the HR part. So this is what we were trying to say and we were trying to do. I think we are exceeding our time now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to
Meena ma'am?
Yeah.
I have created the flow chart.
Oh, wonderful.
How
How
will
will you show it to
posted.
me?
I am reading it out.
Oh, wonderful. Good.
Vision, you have seen Institute of Eminence in the field of engineering technology in and around the South Bangalore. Then the next are our HR function is giving the higher priority in performance management system and working with your e-recruitment channels. And the stages we are working is your high performance with your quality deliverance. And our KPI is minimum error in teaching learning pedagogy, where we focus on the quality part of it.
Oh, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. So I think you've just hit the nail on the head. Rucha?
Yes, ma'am.
No. I was going to ask you a technical question, but I figured it out.
Okay, ma'am, I've already mailed the presentation and PDF, okay, to all the participants.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
So coming to the end of the whole thing, that's my last slide. And that is what I wanted to put across as a message. When I say you are the creator of your own destiny, I mean you are the creator of your own strategy map. So this is what the HR scorecard and the balance scorecard is all about. You are the creator of your own strategy map. It is a matter of choice. It is not a thing to be waited for. It is a thing to be achieved. So correct mapping of strategy has to happen through our hands, through people who understand what the organization can do and how it can achieve its potential. That was the end of today's session. And I really hope that you have understood what I taught you in the past 3 sessions. And I really hope that you'll be able to use it more and more. Rucha?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, thank you so much. I would like to express our deep gratitude to you for sparing your valuable time and making an excellent presentation, ma'am. The sessions were eloquent and remarkable.
Thank
you so much for being here.
Thank you, Medha.
Thank you, Shiny ma'am. Thanks so much. Pleasure's all mine.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody, have a good day ahead and have a great week.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Participants, the next session is at 12:30 p.m. I request all the participants to join the session 10 minutes before the scheduled time. The attendance form link will be shared in the WhatsApp group. Thank you so much, everyone. See you in the next session.